MS-13 motto is kill, rape, and control. That's their motto. So that should tell us enough about the kind of group that we confront. Our motto is going to be justice for victims and consequences for criminals.
That's a novel thing, right? Consequences for criminals. Attorney General Jeff Sessions just last month declaring that the Trump administration would not turn a blind eye as brutal gangs like MS-13 terrorize America. But is the damage already done? A whistleblower has just provided evidence that the Obama administration apprehended, processed, and then knowingly allowed at least 13 illegal MS-13 gang members to settle into our communities. And one can only ask, why? Here to discuss, former Sheriff Paul Babu, Rachel Campos-Duffy, and Joe Walsh is back as well. Sheriff, let me start with you. And you guys have a tough enough job as it is, but when the federal government is actually releasing members of perhaps the most violent gang in the world, not just North America, it seems it's unfathomable. It's hard to even believe or justify.
Well, it would be shocking if we weren't talking about President Obama and his administration. Literally, there was 8 years of lawlessness, not just catch and release. Here we see 16, in this case, in 2014, 16 MS-13 members, and these were self-identified. It wasn't like they were hiding, trying to slip in with the 80, 100,000 refugees, asylum seekers from Central America, mainly El Salvador. They identified themselves, and in fact, in some of the interviews, one of them said that he was a drug dealer in El Salvador, and that's exactly what he's going to do here. They kept them all there. They put them out into community placement centers around the country. And guess what? They're still here, as well as thousands and thousands of other MS-13 members.
You know, Rachel, that's how they get in places, I guess, like Long Island, New York. It's so amazing to me. I just would have never have thought in a million years that it would be an epidemic of violence and murder in Long Island, New York being perpetrated by MS-13, in part because they learned how to game the immigration system. They didn't come here illegally. They found other ways to get here, even through adoptive parents.
That's right. And the policy, the irony is the policy of the Obama administration that allowed this to happen was meant to pander to the Hispanic community. And guess who they're hurting? They're hurting the Hispanic community, because these gang members don't end up in the Tony neighborhoods where Obama and his family live. They go into the immigrant communities. In Houston, immigrant family, their daughters were slaughtered, sacrificed, and weird satanic rituals by this gang, 14, 15 years old. It's the poor people who can't.
Why do you think liberals do that? Why they do this over? It's not like, I mean, there's smart people who are liberals. Why do they do this over and over again in the so-called effort to appease the very people who become the prime targets and victims? Because
the so-called leaders of these communities, like this open border policy, they think it seems compassionate, but they're not really thinking about the people who live in these communities. It's made it untenable. And I'll tell you what, there's a lot of Hispanics and minorities living in those neighborhoods that are really happy to see what Jeff Sessions and Donald Trump are doing now to
they want to go out and be able to go take their kids to the park, go to the store. You know, Joe, last year, according to one organization, Mexico is the second most violent place in the world after Syria. Of course, every other country on the list had airplanes going off, bombs going off, machine guns. This is for the most part just crime committed with knives and small handguns. That's the nature of the risk south of the border.
Hey, Charles, it's crap like this that got Trump elected. The average American listening to us right now, like you, they can't fathom how our very own government would do this to us. But look, we asked the question, you asked the question, why did Obama do this? Why do liberals do this? They're trying to fundamentally transform the country, change America forever, and Obama was hell-bent, Charles, on doing that through immigration, through open borders.
What were they changing us to, though, Joe? I mean, what they want us to be? Mexico circa 1910, or I mean, you know, what are they trying to achieve by fundamentally changing the greatest country in the world?
by turning this into a socialist nightmare that will never elect another Republican. Charles, all of these immigrants, legal and illegal, coming into this country, they've got no skills and no education. They are Democrat voters. It's all about voters. Let these people in, and eventually they're going to vote.
Paul, Sheriff, are you confident, even with a wall, that as long as there are red carpet is being rolled out at sanctuary cities and this sort of thinking, that we can truly stop the violence, the drug epidemic, and even the vast amount of illegals who are hurting our social fabric in terms of cost? Are you confident that that can truly happen?
Over time. This has taken 8 years and even longer when you look at it, with Republicans as a party to this. But people talk about sanctuary cities and jurisdictions. We've had a sanctuary president in Obama for 8 years. And he has been releasing, not just allowing all these MS-13 members in, he has released tens of thousands of convicted criminal illegals. Even in my jurisdiction, where I served as a sheriff, he's released actual convicted murderers and people convicted of rape and molestation and other serious crimes. You don't have to be a cop to figure out something bad's going to happen here.
Right.
And so the president himself, we're going to live in this for some time, but President Trump, our new president, is ordering the hiring of 10,000 ICE officers, 5,000 additional Border Patrol agents, and we're going to get our hands around this. It's going to take years to do, though.
Yeah, I think that's the right way to look at it. It's not going to be an overnight cure, because it certainly wasn't a situation that happened overnight as well.